Hey everyone, it is Ed Gutowski. I'm your English 1C instructor, and what I wanted to do was to just create a video where I kind of introduce myself to you, to the class, and kind of just talk about the textbooks that we're going to be using for class. Look, I'm really excited about English 1C. English 1C is a class that is loads of fun. You really can't screw up English 1C, both online and on ground. It's just a really fun class. English 1C really focuses on rhetoric and argument, and we'll really delve into the rhetoric and argument aspect class around week 2. So let me just really briefly just kind of talk about the textbooks for class. They're all really engaging and a lot of fun. So the first book we're going to look at is a book by Sinclair Lewis called It Can't Happen Here. So I used this book right before COVID happened. Our class went all online. Students really liked the book. I got really good papers. You know, Sinclair Lewis is considered to be one of the great writers of American literature. And what he does is he creates sort of an imaginary political campaign in the 30s where sort of a demagogue gets elected to president and sort of starts to establish a dictatorship in America. And it sounds like, you know, a novel that's pretty timely for the situations that we're going into. That really wasn't my goal. When Sinclair Lewis wrote this book, it was in the 30s, and he was really, afraid of the rise of fascism and totalitarianism that was spreading throughout Europe. And this book kind of became really popular again. I wanted to start teaching it, and students seem to really like the book. I have a really good lesson plan that goes with it. So I think you'll find that book both interesting and somewhat challenging, but that's going to be a lot of fun. Then we're going to use a book called Rhiann's Diary, which is this book here. This is a book, it's actually a brand new book that was discovered in Poland about a young girl's experience with the Holocaust. The book has been sort of compared to the Diary of Anne Frank. And again, I used it, the reason I'm using it is because I used it again last year when we went all COVID and we had to go all online classes. Got great feedback from students. Some students knew a lot about the Holocaust, some students didn't know much about the Holocaust, but they were really good papers. It was really kind of engaging, so I wanted to continue with that book. And then the last book we're going to look at is called The Fire Upon Us. It's about the debate between William Buckley and James Baldwin, and this has actually been a great book. This book has been voted 3 times in my class that I've used as the best book that I've taught. It's a book that really looks at issues of race and racism in America. James Baldwin was, one of the best known African American writers of literature to come out of the 20th century, and James Baldwin is one of the great sort of conservative intellectuals of the last half of the 20th century, and it's about the debate and argument that they have at Oxford. And I got to tell you, students just love this book. I got such great response that I really feel like it's, I wanted to just keep using that lesson plan. So those are the books. A couple of the other books we're going to use is Everything's an Argument. This is the textbook that we'll use for class. It's a good textbook to use. It'll help us to understand key concepts of rhetoric and arguments. Also, we're going to use the Siegel Reader essays. There's a set of essays that we will read throughout the class. Students really like the Siegel Reader. Some great essays, some great short stories. That'll be a lot of fun. And then we're going to end with William Shakespeare's Henry V. And the only thing I can tell you about Henry V is I know it's Shakespeare, but it's an epic play, because really it's a play about war, it's a play about politics, and it's a play about rhetoric. And students really seem to like the play. It's pretty accessible. The ideas are really engaging. And again, since I've been using that since we went online, got pretty positive response from students, so I just wanted to continue that lesson plan. So that gives you just kind of an idea that of the books we're going to use. It may seem like a lot, but it's all workable, it's all manageable. And I would only say the other thing is, we're never going to meet directly in person through a Zoom session. I just have my office hours. So if you ever want to meet with me during my office hours, you can schedule appointments. We can meet on Zoom. Otherwise, I'll record some lectures here or there. And I'll post most of the stuff online. Hey, it's going to be a lot of fun. English 1C is a great class, so I look forward to seeing what your ideas and concepts are about rhetoric and argument, and we'll go ahead and get class started.